never made it, but I know what it takes. I'm motivated by a mix of emotion. Got my statement, and I'm reading it slow so I can understand it fully. Appreciate my standing, go out of this world and right on time. Oh, never in my life have I seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. Wait, I think I'll last a bit longer. Find another.
Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family a part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is a hump day Wednesday, so of course that means it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And if you watched last week's top 10 countdown, you may know where I'm going with this, because last week I did top 10 all-time best names, and it was just everyday average people. And I said I might come back later on and do top 10 all-time best names in sports. And that's why last week I just did general, overall, everyday people and not sports, because I wanted to make it a separate top 10 countdown. And the day that I'm going to do that is today. So today we're going to talk about the top 10 all-time best names in sports. And if you're a long-time sports fan, you should know most of these names, because a lot of them have played within the last 15 to 20 years. But even the ones that haven't, the ones that played back in the day, if you ever watched SportsCenter or the competitor Fox Sports show back in the day called the National Sports Report, if they were showing a highlight package of any of the teams that these guys played for, they would somehow, some way squeeze in the player's name, even if he did nothing in the game, just because he had a very unique name. So without further ado, here is the top 10 best all-time names in sports. Number 10, Metta World Peace, or as the PA guy used to say when he would score, Metta World Peace. Number 9, Fat Lever. Number 8, Stubby Clap. And number 7, I just put on the list because I enjoy saying his name. He played for Georgetown basketball back in the mid to late 90s, and they were actually worth a darn. Anytime I can say a name twice in a row, like there used to be a female wrestler named Kelly Kelly. She had a name so nice, you had to say it twice. Well, that's how this guy is. His name was Ruben Boomshay Boomshay. And number 6, also from the world of basketball, World Be Free. 10 through 6, one more time, is Metta World Peace, Fat Lever, Stubby Clap, Ruben Boomshay Boomshay, and World Be Free. If you're a fan of the old mid to 90s sitcom Family Matters, at one time on that show, Steve Urkel dated a girl named Myra, and she said her name was Myra Boutros Monkhouse. So every time I say the name Ruben Boomshay Boomshay, I think about Myra Boutros Monkhouse. Breaking into the top 5, at number 5 is Dick Pole. Number 4, going back in the day again to the world of baseball, Rusty Kuntz. And number 3 and number 2 are brothers. I'm going back into the mid to late 90s, so I'm not sure whether or not they were twins, but if not, they still both had incredible names. Their parents should be applauded for giving them great names, and that was Majestic Mapp and Scientific Mapp. When you have the last name Mapp, that was 2 P's, by the way, M-A-P-P, there are several names that your parents could give you that go right along with Mapp, and their parents chose Majestic and Scientific. And the number 1 answer is not only the best all-time name in sports, this is the best all-time name in the history of mankind or womankind. There will never be another name better than this one. And if you're a longtime sports fan, you should know this name because, as I said earlier, back when this guy played, even if he didn't play due to injury or whatever, if you watched SportsCenter back when it was worth watching, when they showed highlights of his team, they would say, so-and-so didn't play. And they only did that because he had a cool name that they wanted to say. He played at Maryland college basketball in the mid-90s. I was just breaking into watching college basketball when this guy played, and it's almost 30 years later, and to this day, I still get on YouTube and watch his highlight packages just to see his name on the jersey, just to see his name when it comes on the screen, just to hear the announcers say his name. X-Ray Hip. And just like the Mapp brothers' parents should have been applauded for giving them the names Majestic and Scientific, X-Ray Hip's mom and dad should win Parents of the Year for the year that he was born for naming him X-Ray. When your last name is Hip, there's not a cooler, more hip name, no pun intended, that you could give your name besides X-Ray. So X-Ray Hip is the greatest name of all time, and I can still hear guys like Dan Patrick and Stuart Scott and Keith Olbermann and Charlie Steiner and Bob Lee and all those guys back in the day showing Maryland basketball highlights, and X-Ray Hip would have 2 points and 3 rebounds, and they would say, X-Ray Hip scored 2 points in the game. When somebody's name is X-Ray Hip, you have to somehow, some way, work that name into the highlight package. I don't care if they don't play. You say X-Ray Hip did not play in the game. You can never miss an opportunity to say the name X-Ray Hip. Best name ever. And a few names that just missed the list. Coco Crisp, Urban Shocker, a guy that's still coaching, Jim Bob Cooter, Charlie Furbush, Cannonball Titcomb, Dick Trickle, and another guy that's still in the coaching world in basketball, and that is Dick Bender. And then one name that I can't decide if it's the greatest name of all time besides X-Ray Hip or the worst name. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But he is a kicker in the world of football. He played for Pittsburgh in college, and I can recall back around 2015 or 16, he missed a kick. His name was Chris Blewitt, Blewitt. And I can remember the announcer of whoever the game was Pittsburgh played saying, and Blewitt. So is that a great name or is that a terrible name? Because if you make the kick, then you didn't blow it. But if you missed the kick, then blew it. So I guess that is either a great name or a terrible name, depending on how you look at it. Any thoughts on this week's Top 10 Countdown? Please feel free to let me know. And if you are new to the sports world, please get on YouTube and go back and watch X-Ray Hip play, the greatest name of all time, and it's not even close. Homes for Our Troops is a publicly funded 501c nonprofit organization that builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Since the 2004 inception, nearly 90 cents of every dollar spent has gone directly to our program services for veterans. Visit at hfotusa.org. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. I got hit in the head with a large bottle of Coke. Luckily, it was a soft drink. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.